If you enter the Weagree wizard, you will arrive on this dashboard with widgets that you can organize to your liking. It looks maybe a little bit busy right here, but if you take a closer look, you will see that actually you have a lot of control. And don't forget, what we are demonstrating over here is contracts in action. It is your contracting practice as you find it over here. And you will see here's a widget that lists your contracts, the last 5 contracts that you've been created within Weagree. It has a widget with your contract tasks. There's a widget with contracts involving me. So in the draft stage of contracts, where I can immediately go to these contracts. If you have integrated Weagree with e-signing, for example, DocuSign, then there's a widget for, first of all, for monitoring the non-signed contracts, because you probably need to chase people to e-sign their contract before you can manage it. And once they are e-signed, they will arrive over here, and there's a widget which shows the e-signed contracts. They arrive fully automatically within Weagree, and from here you can transfer these individual contracts once signed into the CLM for managing them. Then you have My Managed Contracts over here, indicating also that some urgency of tasks pop up. And if you need to have the contract related to a signed contract, then for the 5 last contracts or the 5 first to act contracts, as you see them over here, I can immediately open the Word document for the contract or enter the repository relating to such contract. There's also a functionality about projects, but that is going to be the topic of separate videos, so I'm not going to address that over here. Think of, for example, large transactions where you have framework agreements, or where you have an M&A transaction and need to manage a lot of related contracts in the framework of a single transaction. That's for a separate video. Each of these widgets are extremely actionable. From the widget, you can go straight to the corresponding view. The My Tasks view obviously brings you to the main navigation overview, where the complete overview is given for all of your tasks pending. Actually, the above navigation is designed in such a way that all the main tasks relating to contracts are accessible with one click from your dashboard. So not only from the widgets, but also in the main tabs you can go and work on your contracts. If you draft or negotiate a contract, the full overview of all pending negotiations contract is over here, and also the full list of all templates that you can create is to be found on the draft or negotiate overview. I'm not going to address approval workflows within this video, but if you are an approver, you would go to this overview page where all the contracts that are pending approval listed, and from where you can approve or reject the contract or discuss with other approvers and the submitter, contract owner of course, whether a contract can be or a transaction can be approved or not, and what your internal conditions for your approval are, or why you are rejecting it. Now, that's the topic for a separate video. In this video, I will certainly address signed contracts, contract lifecycle management, or CLM as we call it, where you have your full repository with the notifications that you can configure, and where you have all the insights that you need for specific contracts for managing your obligations and get insight in your obligations in relation to a certain signed contract. Here's also where you find the signed contracts of your colleagues. If you search a contract, as you may want to know which legal entity has entered into a contract with my counterparty here or there, or if you want to see which legal entity has signed which contracts, or if you want to search a certain type of contract or a certain contract, whether that's in place or not, you would do that, of course, on the search page. This is also where the main entrance to the entity management is. Entity management will also be the topic of a separate demo video. Last part of this walkthrough video, I'm going to show you about analysis and reporting on contracts. There's a very nice, highly visualized dashboard over there, again with widgets, where you can monitor your contracts, and from where you can create all sorts of reports relating to your contracts. Now, before we enter into creating a contract, I will show you one final thing, which is the dashboard here is filled with widgets that you would like to monitor or that you would like to have on your dashboard, but there are more widgets. You may want to see, for example, the contracts that are pending my approval. If I click on the plus sign or I simply drag it onto the page, it will create the overview. For me, nothing is pending approval. I also don't see the need to have a widget for that on my dashboard, so I've taken it out. Then the tasks that are high priority, the ones that I need to give follow-up to in a very short notice, for that is also a separate widget. And then here you will see some more widgets which relate to reporting and analysis. And underneath this, furthermore, are widgets relating to specific personalized contexts. So, for example, which general purchasing agreements have been outstanding for more than 2 months and need to have my follow-up because they need to be e-signed, or maybe someone has not e-signed anything yet. From the widgets, you can also create a report just like that. And you can tailor or customize the scope of what you see in a widget easily. I'm going to keep it simple. How you create these personal widgets, I will show you that later on in this video. I will now create an NDA and show you how contract automation works, where you can invite guests, where the clause library works, and how contract creation can be accelerated. Weagree also supports and helps managing contracts that were created outside Weagree. And of course, if you receive the version 2, 3 or 4, or if your colleagues send you schedules or contract related files, you can forward email those to Weagree. As you could already see in the top right corner, there's an inbox. If you send an email with an attachment to your Weagree portal, Weagree will automatically forward and send that email in your inbox from where you can handle it. Later on, we will see how it works. For now, all I do is that I forward an example of those email. So here you have an email and I forward it to the Weagree portal. Later on, we will pick up that email and handle it. Let's create the NDA and see how contract automation within Weagree works.